How are you guys doing? Good lunch? Yeah, exactly. feeling a little bit sleepy today. Well, I hope it's not going to be sleepy for you guys today. So we're going to talk about customizing nopCommerce and implementing to Azure with very complex business requirements. And I do hope you find that useful and take whatever you can from it. So this is really targeted for advanced nop developers, and if there are any new nop developers in the room, they can explore the possibilities that nopCommerce can offer. So a little bit about us. We were established in 2009. I started a company while I was working with another company because I always wanted to have my own business. And in 2013, one-man show is not going to go anywhere, right? So we wanted to grow. So the old company I used to work for went down, and I went back to there and asked my former colleagues to come and join me. We rebooted Airline Software Company, and we became all partners. Some of them are sitting here, right here with me. We do anything from custom development. nopCommerce is one of the services we offer, and it started to be most of the services we offer is through nopCommerce. Some of the nopCommerce sites we've done are anything from a one-man show to a company with 140,000 employees. That tells you nopCommerce is a solid system that can serve pretty much any size of businesses. A little bit about me. I have 25 years experience professionally creating applications. I started creating e-commerce since 1999. I use different platforms I wrote from scratch. I use Miva. I use ASP storefront.net. I use AbleCommerce. I use iNext. You probably never heard of it, but I use that. But once I started using nopCommerce, I realized that's the best solution out there. I never looked back. Some of my colleagues here today, raise your hand right here. They're here. They all have their own expertise. We have a back-end developer. We have a great SEO and marketing person in our team who's also a store owner. And we have a great project manager and developer right here. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about integrating to Azure platform. And we're going to also talk about how we can have a creative approach to meet all the business requirements that we need to implement to nopCommerce. So we also need to tune up nopCommerce for high traffic websites. And we know that sometimes we need to expand resources to do that. But if there are ways to do it within the nopCommerce, and it's best to do it within nopCommerce, then we're going to talk about that as well. And achieving best, this is one of the most favorite projects I've done because I worked closely with my client, and he was a technology savvy, and we brainstormed a lot, and that was the most pleasing projects we've done. I thought this would be a great highlight to talk about into the discussion. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about. It's a subscription-based model, business model. And nopCommerce, out of the box, has a very basic subscription model. And this is something that we need to implement. And what we had in nopCommerce was not great for what we wanted to do. So we also want to talk about how you're going to process about 10,000 orders a day. That's a lot of orders. Can nopCommerce handle it? Maybe. We're going to get into that shortly. And there are some restrictions about customers who can register. They have to be located in a certain area in order to be able to register and place an order. We're going to talk about that as well. And we're also going to talk about standing orders. Subscription models have standing orders, typically. And if there are like a software subscription, maybe not. But if something else, as the retail products, you do need standing orders. So how we can approach that? And sometimes you don't want your orders when you're on vacation, right? So how are you going to skip that? We're going to talk about that. And we also want to talk about enhanced user experience. Okay, let's get right to it. So in order for you to guys have a little intro about what this project is about, I'm going to show you a little video. Right there.
Imagine a world where you never ran out of milk. Where you could pick up groceries without leaving the house. With Smith Brothers Farms home delivery, it's not a dream. It's just business as usual. We deliver local, farm-fresh milk and dozens of local high-quality dairy products, quick meal solutions, wholesome snacks, and tasty breakfast options to make it easy for your whole family to eat well. And it just takes a few minutes to sign up. Simply enter your address. Then, pick the products you'd like us to deliver each week. You can increase, decrease, or skip your order until 6 p.m. the night before your delivery. When you finish the sign-up, we will send you an email about who your milkman is and which day of the week you'll receive your deliveries. So to recap, the grocery store doesn't have comfy couches, and there's never a good time to run out of milk. Sign up today and get what you need delivered to your front door.
So does NOP do this out of the box? Maybe. But you do need to do some customization on that, right? So that's the formula, right? So if you want to combine e-commerce with getting milk, what you use is nopCommerce. So we used nopCommerce 3.8 for this project. 3.9 was just about out. We didn't want to use that because we started the project already. So we used SQL Server 2014 and some third-party components. Are there any 7 Spikes guys in the room? Can you stand up, please? I want you guys to give them a round of applause because they are a great contributor to the community, and we appreciate what you guys do. Sure. And so for this project, we used opt-in themes with the plugins that we utilized for the project. The ones that have asterisks, we had to customize in order to meet the requirements. So the challenges that we had 3 hours time frame to process 10,000 orders. That's not possible out of the box with nopCommerce. You can't run a scheduled task. You cannot run background web process to do that. You have to come up with some other approaches. So we're going to talk about that. And the subscription model base that keeps changing. So you keep changing your orders. You want 2 gallons of milk. You have guests coming in. You want to keep increasing the quantities, decreasing, so forth. And also, as I said, you're going on vacation. You don't want to receive milk and be sitting on the front porch and go bad, all right? And there are times that the order cannot be placed. That means there are restrictions. Let's say delivery is the next day. You cannot change your orders. We're also processing credit card offline, but it's online. I'm going to get into that shortly. And processing 10,000 orders a day, email a day, within 2 hours or 3 hours time frame, not a good idea. You get red flagged, right? So you need to use some third-party authority like MailChimp or SendGrid. So challenge number 1, there are 52,000 active customers, and they get orders weekly or bi-weekly. And as I said, 3 hours window for deliveries to go back in the dock and load the trucks. And we cannot use the scheduled task. And we calculate if we want to get process the orders, it would take average of 2.8 hours to process those orders. If something goes wrong within that time frame, we're screwed. So we have to do them again, right? So there's not enough time. So we had to, we also coordinated this with Andre. I don't know if he's in the room, but he suggested a few things, and we tried, but we had to come up with something else that would give us enough time to do any fallback and go through it. So imagine you're trying to calculate tiered pricing, discounts. The customer has like a lot of orders in there. That the 1 second is not enough. So we had to come up with something else. So what we have done is basically we used CLR. Does anybody know what CLR is? Probably most of you do. Right. So basically what we have tried is we extract all the NOP logic for calculating pricing and orders out of nopCommerce, put in a separate project with one DLL that doesn't need required to go call other services to bring back data. That would eliminate all those time going back and forth. So using CLR was a great approach. And this was actually a collaboration between us and our client, who's sitting right here in the audience. So the delivery time was greatly reduced. And we also created the SQL user-defined functions to call those assembly lines, assembly file, and they create the SQL job to initiate the order processing. So what do you think the outcome was? 2.8 hours to what? You're right about there. In less than 10 minutes, we processed 10,000 orders. It's amazing, isn't it? So what I'm trying to say is we need to be creative. Maybe nopCommerce provides all the tools, but you have to think outside the box in order to meet the business requirements. So going through to the CLR was the best solution for this project. And now we have a lot of time, if something goes wrong, to go back and see what's going on. Challenge number 2, the absence of true subscription model that we needed. Also keep changing. Also, there's no standing order in nopCommerce, so what do? We introduce a new concept called standing orders in nopCommerce. That takes a lot of coding, right? And recurring also keep changing. What about the products that are discontinued? How do you handle that? Turkey, for example, Thanksgiving next week. Did you order your turkey? It's too late. So let's go through that. We used wish list. We made the wish list as a standing orders. So people can go there and make changes to their orders, change the frequency, or to weekly, every other week, or the next order only. So that was a best approach in order to reduce the amount of code needed to do that. Also, we provide the sync process, meaning if you had to change your standing order, you have a new baby now, you need 2 gallons of milk instead of 1 gallon, so you could change your standing order, it would automatically sync your next delivery for you. And so we also had the logic for discontinued products that go automatically out of your next delivery. It gets locked. That's what it looks like right now. So you have your standing order, you have frequency, and you have your next delivery. You also notice they all line up, except for the title we have to fix. So these products are all line up, they're all the same sort order. What is that up there? It says a skip. You want to skip your next delivery. Okay, we can do that. So we introduce a new table for skipping, holding the skip dates for them. So that gives us the next challenge. So delivery gets a skip when you're on vacation, when you go to Bahamas. This picture was before the storm, by the way. So we got there right on time to take the picture. And so there was really no concept of a skip and resuming subscription in nopCommerce. So we had to come up with that. So the outcome was creating a table outside of nopCommerce that allowed customers to skip their future deliveries. It also automatically expires, and you can resume your deliveries right after that. And you also have an option when you go there to, let's say, okay, your vacation canceled, or you don't want to go on vacation with your spouse anymore, you get into a fight, you go and change the plan, and you're staying home, you're going to get the milk. So that is what it looks like. So your standing order is still the same, and you have that option to manage your skips. You can still see what's in your next delivery, but you can manage it right there. So you also have an option to manage your skips. That button, when you click on, you go to this page. These are the dates of your delivery, and you can either resume or just automatically expires. Challenge number 4. I need my glasses to see. Wow, that's not good. Right, so there is a time period that we need to allow customers to go back and make changes to their order, and that time is the day before their deliveries, because there's a time period that trucks go to the dock, pick up the merchandise to do that. So we need to make sure we capture that moment so customers don't go and place an order and not get it. So in order to do that, we have a curfew. You go to the site and you cannot make any change to anything. Whatever you see on the screen is whatever you get. So you basically go there and everything is read-only. You can only modify it until 6 p.m. the day before your delivery. That was our solution. Challenge number 5. When you register, you go through the checkout, you put your credit card numbers, but you don't get charged and you don't get approved until your delivery routing date is determined. So what we have to do, because we don't want to store credit cards, right? That's not good. And so in order to be able to go back and retrieve that information, so we want someone else to blame, right? So we go to payment gateway processing. We use something called USA ePay. Some of you may be familiar with that. So we give option to customers to go back and change their credit card information if they want to. We only show the last 4 digits. And basically, after they're approved, if they want to make changes, they can go back and do that. Can manage their entire profile through nopCommerce. We've done some other customization for this. For example, the customer qualification process. When you go through the registration process, if you put your zip code, and if your zip code is not within the range, you go into a waiting list for future. If they expand and they deliver more areas, and then you go to that area. And as I explained, the processing over 10,000 emails a day is not, 10,000 emails within 2 hours is not really a good idea. So what we use, we extracted those emails. So that way also we reduce the traffic on the nopCommerce and all those bandwidth. So we extracted all of that into a console app. A console app actually goes and processes all those orders, emails. We also added audit trailing. We wanted to know what's going on under the hood, who's doing what. And if there's anything going on wrong and we cannot discover what happened to it, using the audit trailing, that would give us enough information to troubleshoot. As I mentioned, we use USA ePay. So when we handle things offline after they registered, so we use another project of a created custom web API that goes and communicates with the ERP system, which was USA ePay. We also use some extended caching and performance optimization because there was a lot of problem handling all those customers online at the same time. Sometimes the concurrent users in nopCommerce, and if you have so many of them, that would be a problem. So we had to tune up the nopCommerce as much as possible, not to break anything, in order to make it work. We also use media compression, CDN integration. We also enhanced the UI, UX, because mobile is the most used platform device for their customers. And we also enhanced the pre-order feature in there. We're going to go through that. So mobile first was the first approach, and what we have also been asked is to have a different experience in the shopping cart between mobile device and the desktop. We're going to go through that as well. So let's check out the site. Oh, it's not YouTube. This is the one. It may look simple, but there's a lot of work behind it. Oh. It is simple. Okay, good. Great. So it looks simple. You have, let me go and register actually. This is Uptown theme by nopTemplates. I'm going to go get started, get my produce. I'm just putting some random zip code. There you go. So this is what you get, basically. They go into a waiting list until they expand the area. So I'm going to go back and log into actually a user. And this is my home page. I want to show you something else too. So when you go and place an order, let's say I'm going to add this to my cart, I have these options. If you're an existing customer, you can add something just to your next delivery, or you can add it to your standing orders. So I'm going to go and add it to my next delivery. So I pick the eggnog. It's added. I'm closing the window. Oh, you probably don't see it well because there's an indicator I have one of these in my shopping cart right now. So I'm going to go to my shopping cart. And that's my standing order. As I want to change this to every other week, or change quantity, they both sync. I'm going to go and add something else just to show you another feature. So let's delete this guy for a standing order. If you notice, there's no button that says update order anymore. There's no button to change the quantities and update quantity or remove. You just change the quantities and hit tab, and they're both gone. Now let's go ahead and change the view. Let's go look at the mobile. That's how they look like in mobile. Okay, so I'm going on vacation because I'm here. I don't want milk in my house. I'm going to skip. That's what happens. I also actually have it here. In order to resume, I go back here and take that off. Cool? All right. Let's go back to the presentation. All right, so we saw the site. Now, yes. Customer profile. Sure. No, recurring payment, we set up the recurring payment as you go through the checkout process, and the recurring payment gets processed offline within that console app that goes and creates the update. And there is also a profile in USA ePay that we send the information saying this is a weekly charge and this is the amount. If the quantity changes, there's a process in the SQL that goes and updates that as well. Performance. So do we select our hosting first or we optimize it first? It's really not the best way. I mean, both ways could be correct. So this was an Azure hosting platform that we had to integrate. So these are the options that we had. Azure App Services, or formerly known as Windows websites, Azure websites, they're basically a shared hosting. But you can scale up or scale down. It's not like GoDaddy shared hosting. You pay $5. That's different. SQL Azure was another option that we had. But we decided after going this route, this was our best option. So, but for any project, it all depends what you're looking for, what is the expectation. Sometimes budget is very important. So you really don't want to pay $1,200 a month for a hosting if you don't have enough customers to handle that. And also the features that they offer, the scalability, the monitoring and all that. You need to consider all of that. Also deployment methods. It used to be different in Azure website. You could deploy it right off the Visual Studio, but now you can also deploy the VM version from Visual Studio. I didn't know that, I just found out. So nop offers some configuration that you can basically out of the box do that. And some of these are like, I've found this, that most developers really forget to turn off the debug mode when they deploy. And they come back and say, why is it so slow? Because you're in a debug mode, right? And enabling HTTP compression right now is out of the box available. There's a tag in the web config, you can turn it on. This is really important because if you have a www and site that doesn't have www, you need to have a proper setup in your nop store. Otherwise, you're going to get a redirect every time there's a request. And if there are any plugins that you don't use, if you're just like me, you like to have everything there. If you need to use it, that would really decrease the performance. And bundling and minification, most of us use that, but sometimes when you introduce a new style, if you have your own class, you bring up the site, this doesn't look like what I had in my computer, right? Because of the order bundling is also important, and you probably use one of my favorite rows, important, next to your class, so it would override the previous one, right? And the schedule tasks, if you don't have anything that you're using, just turn them off. You don't need to do that. And there are a lot more features, but if you really want to know more about it, you can talk to nop Accelerate guys right here. They have a great article about that, so they can take a look at it. So what's not configuration? If you are doing on a dedicated machine, so it's best to enable a 32-bit application pool. And if you don't have anything that changes often, CDN is a great option. Image compression is definitely important. Caching is really tricky because most cachings are already implemented. If you want to cache something else that is not really used a lot, then you really have to be careful, otherwise you're going to break the site. And there are a lot of tools that you can utilize to find out what needs to be optimized. Like GTmetrix is a great example. Pingdom.com can monitor your site and performance. And this is the one that we use the most to monitor the performance. If you run into a lot of concurrent users, you want to know where it lacks and what you have to improve. This is a great tool as well. Application Insight is offered out of the box by Visual Studio. And they trick you. They already check for you if you create a new project. You have to make sure you uncheck it if you don't want to use it. And it already creates an account for you on Windows Azure. If you don't turn it off, it's going to affect your performance. If you'd like to know more, just talk to me after the keynote. So customizing nopCommerce. What is the best approach? Well, every developer have their own best practices. I'm not suggesting this is the very best. This is our approach. It really depends how much customization you want to do, and if you are considering upgrade paths consistently, every version you want to upgrade, you have to be very careful what you're customizing. If you're doing database changes, I prefer to create a new schema that belongs to that project. So I know I can easily identify it. You may not agree with me, but that's what I prefer to do. Like, for example, this guy. So I know this is specific for the project. There's nothing that belongs to nopCommerce out of the box with this. If you're introducing a field that is not nullable, I prefer to create a default value so you don't mess up the whole records. And always use a script. Using UI approach is a really bad idea. So regarding code changes, it's best to use plugins if possible. Sometimes there are changes you want to do, you cannot do it within plugins. You need to go to the core. So, I mean, it's unavoidable. But if you do that, if you're introducing new folders for controllers or views and everything else, that would be best because you can easily identify it. Comment the code. We don't like to do that, do we? It's too much work. We just want to get it out the door and working. So the way we do it, we basically create a new region. We put all our custom code in there. It's easily notifiable. And also we add comments to that file. When we update it, what we change, so we know what it is. And document. I know it's a boring topic. You don't want to document. So what is the next one? Document. Document some more. What do you mean, document? I just want to get it done and get out. If you do that, it's a lot easier for you. Some of you don't know who it is, but it's Homer Simpson. My favorite character. All right, so what did we talk about? Subscription model with delivery, next delivery and standing orders. How did we process 10,000 orders a day within minutes, not hours? And how we paused and resumed subscriptions. And the lockout time, basically, we didn't let anyone to make changes to their orders. We went through the UI, UX briefly, and we talked about Azure hosting, performance optimization, and best practices. Any questions?